Yeah, yeah, we were just talking about it before. It was a nasty injury, everyone's seen it. It wasn't a great day for both clubs on Saturday at the G. He's probably 12 weeks. I mean, with syndesmosis injury, but also, you know, he had a fracture in his leg as well, so he's had a plate put in that. So, you know, hopefully they healed the right amount of time, but they're nasty injuries, they're syndesmosis injuries, and we've had a few last year, so unfortunately it's got us again. But, you know, Tom's ability to recover from surgery over the past probably 6 or 7 years has been pretty good, so touch wood, you know, we can get him back after the bye.
Does a fracture make it worse than like returning Cornelia last year? Or?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, you know, yes and no. I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see, I suppose. And hopefully both injuries are sort of coming through at the same time, but sometimes one can repair and others, you know, the one can hold you up. But time will tell over the coming month.
Toby was one of those withdrawals again. How's he looking for this one?
Yeah, he's pretty good. Look, he pushed for selection last week. We know he had an interruption in terms of the pre-season, played in Canberra and then just pulled up tight. Didn't want to risk it, but in saying that, he has to train Wednesday, Friday for my liking. You know, it's as you can see across the league, there's so many players that are you know, got this injury, and it's a survival of the fittest at the moment. So you don't want to be taking in players that are not 100% right. So if he's not right, he won't play. But in saying that, we're pretty confident.
Zach Langdon had his hand strapped through the game, came back on.
Yeah. No, not great. He's unfortunately he's got a crack in his hand, and it's probably going to be a month or so. No surgery required, and for him, and it was a great effort to come back on because it happened in the first 10 minutes, and you know, it was really pleasing from that aspect. But after the game, no doubt, it was pretty sore. So it's probably a month of footy he's going to miss. The good thing about it is at least he can run and do a lot of things other than just probably handle the footy. So yeah, we've got to find another small forward.
John, how did you back up from the weekend? Obviously, you had a couple of concerns guys like Zach Jones, his calf, Hannah's got a bit of a knock towards the end of the game. How they?
We're not sure with Jones. We won't know until he actually trains or attempts to train on Thursday. So we're not sure yet. We're going to give him till then, obviously, to see how he pulls up. Hanbury pulled up fine. He was the same knee hurt in the grand final a couple of years ago, so it was a bit concerning when it first happened. But he's probably dodged a bullet there, so he feels really good. So he'll be okay. And Sam Reid, at this stage, we expect to play.
John, the midfield battle was always a classic, I guess, between these two teams. The two guys here probably lead the way. How did you think your midfield went Sunday night?
Yeah, game's a bit like any game, any battle in the midfield. It sort of ebbs and flows a bit. You know, you always, you know, we had probably our noses in front for a period of time, didn't capitalise, and then they got their noses in front and they were able to capitalise. So that was probably the story of last week's game. And you know, the battles that these guys in particular have had over the journey don't get any less. You know, you've got two of the absolute quality on ballers in the competition sitting at this table, and we'll be going head to head, no doubt, at different times this weekend. And with that other group on both teams, it's as it always is, an important battle, but one that I'm sure that both teams really look forward to, because it's, you know, we've got an enormous amount of respect for the Giants, and we've had some great clashes. We've played them twice already. So a couple of times this year already, so we get another go at it. We might have the lights on for a bit longer this week, my on, but we've had a couple of goes at it over the pre-season, and you know, so both teams have played a lot of footy, understand each other, and then it just gets back to who's best on the night.
Alan, you had obviously as John Wood, you had a couple of practice sit-outs there. You lost those, but how much of anything did you read into those games? Did you carry anything out of those games into this game? Or?
Oh, I guess a little bit, yeah. It's obviously playing against quality opposition, you always take stuff out of it. I guess they're only pre-season games. It's always a very high intensity game against the Swans. They played, you know, terrific brand of footy that we've always respected. So no doubt it'll be, you know, be no different this weekend.
much to you about the Swans and Cal go after playing against each other, being two contested, not the only ones in your team, or I guess the best in your team at it? What's the, I guess I know you're not going to have a personal rivalry with Cal every game, you play on different blokes, but coming up against players like that.
Yeah, it's you know you're always in for a tough contest against the Giants, and their ability to use the ball on the outside is obviously well noted, but their inside pressure and their contested footies up there with the best in the comp, and certainly from our side perspective, we really need to set ourselves to bring that area of our game and make sure it's at its best to match it with them.
And how much confidence did you take out of being part of the team that won here last year?
Oh yeah, a bit. I mean, last year was a long time ago. 2018 is a whole brand new year. We're playing different footy. The Swans are playing different footy, so you can't take too much from last year. But as Josh said, that the game is always very contested against the Swans. So I think that's the way we're prepared every time we've played the Swans. So this week will be the same.
John, we were just talking before about that syndesmosis injury, and we've seen the Giants. This is to you, Leon, as well. A massive amount of these type of injuries, which I can't recall seeing in such frequency before. Do you think that there's something that might be contributing to that, and we might need to look at something?
Look, we don't know, and I guess we've had a couple this pre-season already, not to the extent and seriousness of Tom Scully's, and I'll let Leon comment on the ones that they had last year, but I'm not sure whether there is anything that can be done about it, but maybe we need to look at it a bit like the tackle in the head, tackle and sling to the ground and the head damage that can come from that. We had a discussion about that a couple of years ago, and I think that's been a worthwhile element that we've added to the game. And there may be nothing that comes of it, but there seems to be a few of them at the moment. And certainly noting the Giants boys have had a run at it over the last 18 months. That's certainly worth looking at.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think like all adjustments in terms of rules at AFL level, I think that coach is talking about it a year and a half ago about the sling tackle, and clearly you can see the care and the players have for each other, even though you're trying to beat each other up for 120 minutes. Clearly the care for each other and the protection has gone through the roof, and those sling tackles have probably few and far between now. The next step is probably how do you is these injuries just bad luck and that's the game? I mean, the game's pretty brutal, as we know. When you actually get pinned in a tackle and your arms are pinned and you're in that vulnerable position, it can be pretty daunting, especially for your lower limbs, your knees and your ankles. And no doubt, Wardy and Josh go through that every week because they're around the action, and it always seems to be around the action, and everyone goes through it. So it's probably a talking point for coaches going forward of how you can do it. But I'm with John. I mean, I don't know how you can actually police it or how you can actually practice it and get better at it. It's probably part of the game, but it's at least worth a discussion, I think.
Yeah, we do the same thing to our opposition as well as what every team does. So it's not as we don't know. We were just having a chat before we come up here. We don't know the answers to it. Got no idea, and we do the same thing as far as teaching our players how to tackle and the ones from behind. But maybe it is worth a bit of a chat.
Lead on a positive note in terms of ankle injuries. Ryan Griffin, I believe he came back and played the knee for the last week. Looked quite good. How far away is he from chanting for the singers and also the likes of Jacob Bopper as well?
Yeah, it was really pleasing for Griff. I mean, he's had a torrid time the last 18 months, and he was progressing, and then sort of hit a roadblock for about a month, and we thought we're in a bit of strife here again. But his last few weeks have been really good, really pleasing. In terms of AFL footy, he's probably needs another couple of games. All going to plan. He'll play 3.5, 4 quarters in the NEAFL this weekend. And then you sort of start making judgments. Where's he at in terms of footy fit to play AFL level? But that's a really good, good thing for us and him. And Jacob's had 2 games back now. He's been training for about 3 or 4 weeks, so there's no doubt he'll put his hand up this weekend, and he'll be heavily considered because of his combative nature. And we know that you know, the midfield battle is going to be pretty important this week.
Given that injury to Stone, will that affect how you use Lockie Whitfield? He's obviously been travelling well when you've had him across half back. Are you tempted to move him back more to the wing now that Tom's going to be out for a while?
No, not really. Look, we're really pleased with how he's progressing down back. And sometimes you can get a little bit too cute. I mean, Lockie's got flexibility. He'll play in the wing at times throughout the game, but, you know, we're really pleased with how he's progressing in that half-back role. And, you know, I can see that, you know, being 80% of his role this weekend, and just because you've won, and sometimes you do adjust, but I don't see that us going down that path yet.
Neil, in terms of mentally how you approach the game, obviously you don't need to get up for this match, but is there such a play it down to get the best out of the players or is it low?
It's a good question. Probably not. In terms of, yeah, you're right. I mean, the rivalry's there. It's probably been there for the last 2 or 3 years in terms of real, because we've sort of, you know, we've obviously become a lot more competitive and we've come up to standard. So, and it's now real. So, I mean, the players probably, I mean, they love playing against each other. There's no hiding from that, because they're really good, tough contests, and that's what a rivalry should be. So, in terms of the coach trying to get up our players, I don't see that this week, because, you know, both sides are going to run out and try to hold each other up and win the game. So that's probably what's going to happen.
John, how big a boost would it be to get Reedy back to give you that other tool option up forward?
Yeah, look, he's important to our structure, and he gives us that flexibility to be able to do a few things with him. But his form over the pre-season was pretty solid. So you know, we think it'd be a good addition to our team. Obviously, he's got to get through training, but if he gets through training, he'll come into the team and be a you know, a handy target for us up in the forward line. So, you know, we're looking forward to that. I mean, we're mindful that regardless of who's there, we've just got to use the ball a bit better. And you know, we didn't use the ball well on the weekend last week going forward, so we need to be a bit better with it this week.